Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to the Lock Shop, presented by Play Alberta, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thank you to everyone for tuning in across the Edmonton Sports Talk audio channels, edmontonsportstalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music. Thank you to those watching on YouTube, as well as listening to podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Matt Iwanek in for Dusty today. Huss will be joining me in a little bit here on the show as well. We have a lot to get to when it comes to the Canadian Football League, as three more games are left this weekend in the CFL. We've got the Edmonton Elks and the Toronto Argonauts. They'll get going down at Commonwealth Stadium later tonight. 7 o'clock is the kickoff. 6 o'clock, Green and Gold kickoff show. Myself, Jay Milne, we'll get you set for that game right here on EST. And then tomorrow we got a doubleheader. Saskatchewan hosting Hamilton, a massive matchup, as it'll be the Riders 7-1 against the Ticats, who are 6-3, and then BC Montreal out in Vancouver. Reminder on those promo codes: ESD Sports, deposit 20, get a $50 free sports bet. YEG 50, deposit 5 and get a $50 free sports bet. Play Alberta, playalberta.ca. Jay and Matt's big play of the game. It is also up for this Elks game tonight. We've got the Edmonton Elks to win by 3 or more. The Elks to have 28 or more points, and then Cody Fajardo to throw for 275 yards. That is boosted to plus 237. He's already joined. Let's bring him in. It is Huss from Winnipeg Sports Talk. We're going to have to look back on that crazy game last night out in Winnipeg before we get there. Huss, how you doing on this Friday?
Well, Matt, I'm well. I'm glad to talk to you. I'm looking forward to the show. But I will tell you, these Thursday night games can definitely take a toll on one. It was a madhouse there last night. Another amazing crowd. It was closer than everyone thought that it should be, but a pretty fun night. So we're rallying. We're ready to go for the Lock Shop and for WST. And the Bombers not dead yet. They managed to find a way to win, but in the long list of unconvincing victories that the Bombers have put together, this certainly would be one of them. What did you think of the game? I mean, you have no skin in it. I mean, I'm sure you're watching.
It was. I keep believing Winnipeg to be the Bombers of the last number of years. That when you see it, 27-10 lead or whatever it was, like you're just thinking I was almost ready to shut off the game and be like, I could go do something else. This game is well within hand. It's going to be a Bombers victory. But, Bob Dice goes for, I know on the broadcast, you would have been there, but they're talking about a questionable decision to take those points. But it was like, okay, well, it's a 3-score game. You need to get a field goal at some point. Ends up sort of working. Well, it ends up working out because they go get a touchdown, and then, Sergio Castillo misses that kick, and what a way to tie that football game. Like you're not going to find a better way to tie a football game than a field goal to basically put the final dagger into the game and go up by 10. Instead, it gets just missed, and boom, it goes back all the way the other way. It's now a tied football game, and then Collaros throws an interception, and Ottawa, who has a pretty good kicker, for the most part, they're not far off from getting to field goal range themselves to then pull off this unbelievable comeback. But no, the Bombers defense eventually steps up. Bombers, Zach Collaros with this. I for a second thought it was maybe Strevler had come into the game, that they did a designed run because who's this quarterback moving? And boom, they're in field goal range pretty much at that point. Get the extra yardage, and then Castillo finished up. It was just it was an entertaining football game. That was a solid football game from an entertainment perspective. I know the coaches are going to be upset, Ottawa, that they got behind and they couldn't finish off the comeback. Winnipeg for not being able to finish that game off earlier. But this is why we watch the Canadian Football League, because anything can happen. It could come right down to the wire. And that one, we got so much happening late at the end. That was wonderful.
Hey, I want to ask you about the broadcast last night, because obviously I was in the stands. What was the commentary around the decision to throw Sergio out there on 3rd and 1 from 57 yards? Like, did
it
they
was
say,
one
"Oh,
of
this is
of support though, because this is the guy. Like, it was more like, can he do it again and kick this massive kick? After the kick, they showed, what was it, the top 5 kicks in CFL history, and Castillo has 3 of them. You know, like at the moment, it was very much in favor. And even when he missed, it was very much in favor of that decision, though, because of who the kicker was and what we've seen him do, not just this year, but last year in terms of those 60 plus. And this wasn't 60. It was less than 60. So it's well within his range.
I mean, realistically, what do you have a better chance of completing? A 3rd and 1 or a 57-yard field goal?
Well, with that team, I would say a 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
But like, I do understand the perspective of O'Shea going for the field goal, because you're not expecting to go back the other way all the way to the house. Like, you're expecting, if it's missed, okay, with how far that is, that's not going to be a rouge. But maybe they're getting to the 20, the 25. So it's like a semi-mini punt. And then you're forcing Ottawa to have to drive the field for the touchdown. What was your mindset as soon as you saw Castillo take to the field?
I was stunned. I mean,
Yeah?
I thought that they, with the minute 14 left, I mean, get the first down, grind out a little bit more clock, and you basically have the win. Like, it's essentially, and listen, I love Sergio. He is the man. I actually bumped into him Wednesday night at the Gold Eyes game and was talking to him, and he said that his mother-in-law is in town and is making her homemade flour tortillas and the beans and rice, and that's all he's been eating. He said he's probably put 4 or 5 pounds on since she got here, and he attributed that to having the leg for that 63-yarder. So he's definitely feeling it right now. But I don't want to say this casually, but it's almost like they take him for granted. Like, oh, it's 57, no big deal. I mean, it was almost treated like a convert. And hey, when you've been that good from distance before, I get it. I just found that it was a strange. I just thought that there was a way more risk in that play, as opposed to doing what is about as high percentage play as you have in getting a yard, moving the chains, and keeping it in.
Well, I will say this: officially listed on the CFL stats page, it was a 3rd and 2.
Oh, okay.
So it would be like a 3rd and a really long 1 at that point. So that does change it for me. I think Castillo kicking a field goal is probably a higher percentage play than converting 2 yards.
Yes, I will give you that. I was sort of more in the end zone, so we didn't have it in the building. It just said 3rd and 1, but yeah, I mean, not all yards are equal, and that certainly wasn't one. Like, the other funny thing about the game was last night, Matt. Drew Brown was, the guy's a gamer, trying to get the team back in the game. He's running around. He does that shovel pass or whatever, and he grabs his knee, and you realize, ooh, that's not good. And normally you'd think, okay, well, the starting quarterback's out. They're going to the backup. This is perfect spot for the Bombers. This is pretty much it. And then we saw who came out, and it's number 18, Dustin Crum. And I certainly could not have been the only person in the building remembering really the greatest moment of his career coming in against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I want to say on Canada Day 2 or 3 years ago for the infamous Crumback, where they clawed back from, I don't know, it was like 20 points down or something like that to win against Winnipeg. And listen, he played really well. He's a different sort of quarterback as well. I'm not sure whether they adjusted as well, but there was some serious deja vu vibes going on as he got the team closer.
I found that game. It was 31-28 overtime. The Bombers were up, based on my quick math here, 25-6. 19 points. And Ottawa stormed back with 19 points in the 4th quarter to tie that football game, and then ultimately won it in overtime. Crum was 26 of 42, 261 yards, but he also rushed the ball 9 times for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Nate Bahar was the leading receiver for the Redblacks in that one with 87 yards.
What was the date on that game? What was the date on that game?
It doesn't say. Okay, let me see if week 6 doesn't give, because I'm just on a back end. So that was 2023. 23 week 6. That would have been July 15th out in Ottawa.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought that was like a Canada Day game, but yeah, that does sound about right. Anyways, it was it was a wild one, man. Like every CFL game right now seems like we're getting just incredible drama one way or the other. We know what last week was like. We saw the way this week started in the Canadian Football League. Even though the records are not very nice of the two teams playing tonight, I think I'd almost be surprised if we didn't get another one right down to the buzzer between Toronto and Edmonton.
Well, I just looked back at the last 5 games, so the 4 games last weekend and last night. The combined margin of victory combined was 12 points between 5 games.
I know.
Like the biggest victory was Ottawa beating Toronto by 4 points.
Yeah.
And
in a
so
game they
it's
were
just
down
been
21.
Yeah, it's been great football. I would expect that when I look at the rest of this weekend, the next 2 games should be relatively entertaining football games, Toronto and Edmonton. Like, I'm still a little skittish with the Elks, not going to lie. Like, there's been a few times over the last number of years where I've seen them look like, okay, they're building some momentum, and you get into the next game and there's a letdown. So I still have that kind of going with me, and Toronto's going to be pissed off coming into town, just outright. Hamilton, Saskatchewan should be a great matchup. I'll be there for that game tomorrow. And then Montreal, BC, that one realistically should be a beatdown.
You're going to the Hamilton Sask game in Regina?
Yeah, I'm flying out tomorrow morning. I'll get home at like midnight. I got to get up at like 4 a.m. to go catch a flight to Saskatoon because it's a buddy stag. And so I'm going to go meet them in Saskatoon. They're going to pick me up from the airport on their bus. We're going to drive down to Regina, go watch the game, and then come back to Saskatoon.
Oh, nice.
I haven't been to New Mosaic Stadium. I went to Taylor Field a number of times. I haven't been to the new one, so I'm excited about that. But I'll be there for Riders and Ticats.
It's a pretty nice stadium. From the air, it looks like a toilet, but once you get in there, it is quite nice. That should be fun. And when you could certainly pick the hell of a football game to do the stag at. I'm just looking at the chat. A couple great lock shop angles on this. Mark Amp, that is a brutal way to lose a spread bet last night. But as Big Uke said, that return was huge for the over, which did, of course, hit when it went to 54 on that one. It ended up being at 57. And I see our buddy Tyson Ducharme is in chat. He said, I feel roughed up, LOL, sweated my ass off. If it is tradition in the North End in section 141 in the 4th quarter, you will see Tyson. Tyson's sort of Winnipeg's version of Big Uke, if you will. And it's tarps off every 4th quarter in the first row right behind it. So the boys were flashing some skin last night. I would have loved to have had a camera on you guys as that missed field goal was returned right in front of us in the end zone.
Well, I don't know if Tyson would know this or not, but they did show a bunch of guys who had their shirts off on the TSN broadcast yesterday after that Redblacks touchdown.
Oh, so that'll be him.
And they looked devastated. They were like, they looked like stunned at what occurred on that one. Yeah, he's saying Studer laughed at my belly. So that was him. They did show him. I was like, it was just something. Actually, I will, like, no offense to you or Bombers fans, but the shots of the crowd after that touchdown was one like, what just happened? Like, how? What? Like, no, it was just disbelief. And it was great camera shots of Princess Auto Stadium of after that Pimpleton kick return, because it was, you're sitting there expecting, okay, well, if this gets missed even, it's not going to go back to the other way. And it's kind of a shame for Ottawa fans that they couldn't get it done, but you got so close, and it's sorry, Edmonton, but it's a single game version of being down 3-0 in a series, coming back, tying it at 3, and ultimately still losing. Like you draw your way back into the fight. just to let it slip at the very end. Sorry, Trev. Trev, just I crushed him right now.
He's not. I mean, I know this is mid-August. We don't need to go back there for any of those hockey remembrances right now.
So what is the feeling like right now for the Bombers for the next little bit? Like they get Montreal next week. Then it's the Saskatchewan series. What's the feeling right now when it comes to Bomber Nation with what they've seen now of the team and, looking good yesterday, but how it just ultimately ended?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, people are going to take the win. I mean, this is a team that, listen, you'd love to have some style points, but when you look at their last 5 games, their one win came in a very unlikely way to do it with the 2 kick returns and the defensive touchdown when the offense wasn't really clicking. Then the offense really sort of let them down in the second half of the Calgary game. So, listen, I think that Zach Collaros certainly had a big bounce back game. He was much better. The receivers got open. They were able to create some things happening in the passing game. And from the defensive side of things, listen, it's a work in progress. Considering the youth and the inexperience of the 2 guys they rolled out at corner, I thought that the defense actually played quite well based on, I think, the fears that Drew Brown was just going to walk in and absolutely torch that secondary. I mean, a 40-yarder on the first play from scrimmage. You thought it could be somewhat of a long night. And, overall they did well. So they had to find a way to win. They could not afford to go back to 4-5. They've got to take advantage of the opportunity to play Montreal without Davis Alexander, presumably next week, and get to 6-4. And then, Matt, you get to Labor Day, and I know the Riders have been the class of the league. They deserve to be on the top of all the power polls. But we've seen it over and over again. You can throw the records out when the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Winnipeg Blue Bombers play at Labor Day. It'll be very interesting as the Bombers coming in as a legitimate underdog on the road going in. And, hey, you find a way to win that game. All of a sudden you're 7-4 and coming back for the Banjo Bowl and feeling pretty good. But they can't get ahead of themselves. They got to find a way to build off this, go into Montreal, win next week, and at least get to 6-4 before going in what's going to be a very, very difficult matchup in the Labor Day Classic.
Well, I will say if they could find a way to take it in Mosaic Stadium on the Sunday of Labor Day, you do have to wonder if the here we go again kind of creeps into the Riders. Like as good as they are, and like right now, I would guess at worst the Riders should probably be able to split that. But if you lose that first one, does it creep in like we last year we're in such a good spot, and now they're in a better spot this year than they were last year. But like this team, they swept us last year. We lost the home game one. Now we got to go to Winnipeg. Like a lot of what ifs and like, oh my God, here we go again. Does that creep into the Riders? So, and at the worst case for the Bombers, if you go and lose that first one, okay, you're going home though. You're going home. You could be like another sellout at Princess Auto. We'll go and we'll ride our crowd to a split in this series. To me, there's a lot of pressure then on the Rough Riders to go win that first meeting of the two because, does that creep in of this team just has their number on this week? Well, and we still have another one to come.
I mean, until the Bombers are done, they're still the Bombers, and they're still going to make teams nervous, even with what they put forth, through the first half of the season. But you know what? I mean, all things considered, with where the roster is and what they've dealt with, with some injuries and whatnot, you're 5-4. You're right there in the thick of things. Ironically, they've got a better record now than they did. Like at the 9-game mark of last season, they were 3-6, and they ended up winning the West. Now, I think there's still probably more holes in this lineup personnel-wise, and probably some more concern as to whether they could really get back to that level that they were winning the West for 5 straight times. But a win like that last night, despite giving a lot more to work on and keeping you in check somewhat, was really important. And as I say, it was a fun, heart-stopping night, a typical CFL roller coaster, a great way to start off the week. But these other 3 games are looking good. Who did you? I know we put in our picks for the weeks. Where did you end up on these CFL games this week?
I picked the Bombers. With our picks, I'm in 2 different ones. With Reed, I'm in one with Reed where it's just straight up pick 'em. Our picks, I took Toronto. I took Saskatchewan, and I took BC.
I'm with you.
The Toronto one, I'm nervous for the Elks. I'm not going to lie. And I know at the start I kind of mentioned it there. I have seen this team feel really good many times over the last number of years. And they go into a game where you're sitting there and you're expecting a victory. Like you finally see them, for the first time this season. I believe the Elks are a favorite going into a football game. And rightfully so. They deserve to be the favorite going into this one. But I've seen where then they don't live up to that. And like, if it wasn't for, and look, I don't want to, last week and looking back at last week, a win's a win. And when it comes to the Elks, you take that win. But if I'm going to use what happened last week in terms of trying to forecast future games, you take that last offensive drive away from the Edmonton Elks. It was a very poor showing from the offense. They didn't get a lot done, and the defense held its own. But it held its own against McLeod Bethel-Thompson and Caleb Evans. Like, even Caleb Evans, though, in that second half, had a couple of really good drives where he moved that ball quite easily against the Elks defense. And there is a significant injury to the Elks where their punter has gone on the 6th game, Cody Grace. And that's a huge, that is not something that a lot of people like to focus on as your punter. But Cody Grace is one of the better punters in the Canadian Football League. And Vincent Blanchard, who's now going to have to handle both duties, that could impact a lot where I can't remember. I think it was Sean White a few years ago with the Elks. He had to do both for a period of time. And he started missing a few field goal kicks because of a tired leg, because of having to handle both duties. It's not an easy thing to just go do both. The Argos are coming in pissed off. Their coach called them out for the second time this season. This is an offense that can put up points.
Oh, yeah.
The question is, can the Elks match them and put up? Well, I think they'll be able to put up points the other way, but I'm not as, and I know where a lot of Elks fans are being confident in this one. I'm just a little, I guess, jaded and scarred from the last number of years that I'm worried about the worst case scenario. I'm just always worried about, okay, well, the wheels are just going to fall off again. And, things are looking good again for the Elks. We're talking positive. Cody Fajardo's moving the ball, but okay, if they play the same game they did last week, they're losing this football game. I'll say that right now. If that's the same performance that they got last week to this week, they're not getting a late fourth quarter drive to go win it because Toronto's going to be up. Montreal made too many errors in that game, and one of the biggest turning points was McLeod Bethel-Thompson. He missed an open receiver in the end zone. And the next play was a pick six. It was a 14-point swing where Montreal could have just taken control of that game. So the Elks are going to have to play a much better game. I'm just worried that we're necessarily not going to see that. Where's your feelings? Actually, quickly, the only thing that that helps me feel more confident in the Elks is that Coke sees a game time decision. If he's not good to go, that's a huge bonus for the Edmonton Elks.
It's funny you say that because I was just looking at the receiving props, and when I first pulled it up, Coxie wasn't there, and now he's just been added. So I'm, I guess, assuming that they're expecting him to play. If he's out, that would be massive for Edmonton. I mean, for my money right now, he's right there behind Kenny Lawler at the top of the best receivers in the Canadian Football League, and he could be a real big problem. Your point about the offense is very well made because Toronto's going to get theirs. I mean, Nick Arbuckle is actually having a pretty strong season. They've been able to move the football. They're scoring a bunch of points. The issue is, well, certainly coming out of that game last week was being able to stop anybody, which is a little surprising because the Argos for a long time have been a team that has really started on the defensive side of the football and then being able to, win kind of well-rounded football games. This year, it's sort of been on Arbuckle and the offense to outscore their mistakes on the defensive side of things. You're right. It's not, I don't think they'll be able to hang around in this game if they don't get things done offensively earlier on. Because as I said, I'm pretty confident that Toronto is going to score, which, I mean, the total for this game is 54.5. Certainly, we're looking at some points. I think we're going to see more from Edmonton, but I think we're going to see quite a bit from Toronto too. So, I mean, we talked about this before. I think that the line at 3 is a little more than I could stomach on the Elk side of things. To me, this is more like a pick'em game.
Yeah.
So as I say, I think the value is on the Argonauts, but it's really going to come down to who can make the plays with the game on the line, and that is one thing I think I'll give the tick to Cody Fajardo. He seems to have a knack for coming up at the big moments and making the play that his team needs to. He's really done it for the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the first week, Julian Grant didn't catch it in the end zone. Last week that he did. But I think this should be a fun game, a lot of points, and as I say, a tight one right down to the wire, I'm expecting.
Well, yeah, Cody Fajardo's career is he has the ball late in the game and he's driving to try to win a football game. Now, does he do it all the time? No, but like his first season in the Canadian Football League as a starter was 2019 with the Riders, and it was Riders Bombers in that West final out at Mosaic Stadium, and he hits the upright, I believe it was, and on the final play. And, right there had a chance to send the Riders to the Grey Cup, but he's consistently a player that, finds a way to get the ball in his hands late in a game, which makes it very exciting. In terms of looking at the points for this game, the two worst teams in terms of allowing points in the Canadian Football League, it is Toronto, it is Edmonton. Edmonton's averaging 30 points allowed. Toronto's averaging 32.4 points allowed. When it comes to offensive points, it's Toronto 27, Edmonton 28.4. So these are two of the defenses and just teams that give up the most amount of points. So that should lead nicely to a lot of points being scored tonight. So we'll see that this is, and I've been saying it, I said it earlier on the Hangout too, like if you're the Edmonton Elks and you want any conversation about playoffs, this week's Toronto, next week's Ottawa. You have to win both. Yeah. And if you're going to lose any of those, no point in talking about playoffs anymore, because you're not going to get a better schedule of 3 in a row with Montreal, with the way that their team is constructed right now with all the injuries, Toronto and Ottawa, to get you into Labor Day, to put yourself in a possible position to fight for a playoff spot. If you blow any of these next 2 games, there's no reason for me to believe that you're going to beat a lot of the other teams the rest of the way. So massive, massive game. I would expect that the BC should beat Montreal. Winnipeg got their win this week. That's not good for the Elks. You got to keep ground when it comes to that. When it comes to that big matchup tomorrow, right now it's Saskatchewan -4. What are you seeing? How are you seeing this game between the Hamilton Tiger Cats coming off a tough loss last week, taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders?
Yeah, I can't wait for this football game. By the way, shout out to Tommy Gazzola is in the chat. I caught up on some of the aftermath of the draft last week, and the commissioner coming in, laying down the law, very strict rules going forward. It's the he managed to skate. He skated on all charges, and he's still alive. In the EST drafts.
I'll defend Tommy on this. He followed the rules. And he actually got handed a punishment that does not follow the rules that were laid out before the draft. Tommy actually has more gripe than I think people realize. He was supposed to get a 2% penalty. He got 4. But he followed the rules that were outlined. I said it on the Hangout earlier today too. It's like, you could say that the teams that pay the luxury tax in baseball. You're following the rules. You could spend however much you want. You just have to pay the penalty that comes with it. That's all Tommy did.
Has there been a building feud between Commissioner Quinn and Gazzola over the course of these last number of drafts? Is that right? It did seem like this was an isolated incident.
It's been growing a little bit. But in defense of the commish on this one too, there's a reason I stepped down as the commissioner. These guys, they're wild, and they need to be reined in. And when I tried doing it, they started crying and whining, and I was done with crying and whining. I just don't have time I'm too busy. I don't need to deal with their crying and whining. Commish is coming. She's tried laying down the law in her ways. They just cry and they whine. It's not an easy job.
Who is the commish? How did she get the gig?
I don't know how Quinn got the gig. Do you know, Trev? Do you have any idea how Quinn got it? Or did they just say maybe Quinn will do it and she agreed?
I think she was asked.
She was asked.
There was a lot of names being thrown out there. And then I think Dusty settled on, like, everyone was kind of in agreement on Quinn. And then they were like, okay. And then I'm pretty sure Dusty just reached out. And then she was okay. Because there wasn't any voting. There was no voting.
No, there wasn't.
Had you worked with her before?
Oh, we know Quinn.
Yeah.
Yeah, she used to work at Global as a sports reporter for a long time in the market.
Okay.
Well, a lot of us have known her for a number of years. Tommy's known her for quite some time. She's an awesome person, straight up. Quinn is a beauty.
With you guys for a long time, and now it's just in a more official capacity.
But it's funny that now, like, the couple of them, or like Tommy even outright said he'd rather have me back, and it's like, well, you know, like the commish job with these guys isn't easy. They're just a disaster, all of them. They're all babies. I'll throw that one out there. Every single one of the people that have been on those drafts are just outright babies. And I don't have time personally why I stepped aside. And I give all credit to Quinn that she's still going about it. It's like you're running a daycare. All led by, you know, actually right now, Tommy a little bit, but the Dusty's always been the worst one of them all.
100%. 100%.
Do you know, like, one of the things why I stepped down, one of the things that happened in that one? Jay had asked a question about a draft. Dusty's response outright was, it's Comish's decision, but I think this. I came in with my decision was opposite of Dusty, and then Dusty lost his marbles. Even though he specifically said it's Comish's decision, but it's only Comish's decision when he agrees with it.
Yes.
And then I was done with it. So I stepped aside. And now Quinn's doing it, and I will stand there like at some point she's going to quit. She's not going to get fired. She's going to quit because these guys are just they're children. Utter children.
When is the next one planned? Will there be
sometime in September?
September? You guys do
yeah, there's supposed to be, and there's going to be a promotion draft that's going to happen offline where 3 members blindly are going to draft. It's going to get posted. Whoever wins will be the 4th member that joins the EST draft, going up against Tommy, Eric, and Dusty because Jay got relegated. I think Jay's standing here. You guys are all babies. You guys are all children. Yes. You guys all just whine and pout when things don't go your ways.
Least guilty, though.
Jay?
Blue guy is the least
No,
guilty.
he's not.
No?
Jay was very pouty during that SNL draft, which was my final one. No, they are. The Jay comes in. That doesn't. They are all babies.
Oh man,
where were we?
Well, we were talking with the CFL
Riders and Ticats. That's right.
The minute Gazzola popped in the chat, I figured we'd stir things up a little bit and just get a little bit more draft talk on it. It is so much fun popping. And I will say this: a lot of support for Tommy. The wrench, a lot of hashtag commish outs, a Teflon Tommy from Spency 5 Censy. So it's been a big topic on EST for the better part of the last week and a half. So we move on into next week, the second half of August, looking ahead to another
that's something else.
Safe. And I guess now, how does Glue Guy get back in?
He'd have to go in one of those promotion drafts and earn his way back in. He won't be eligible for this one. But moving forward, he'd have to throw his name into the ring to go into one of those drafts for whatever spots open up, you know, because it is, I don't know if the commission is going to change the line, but if you get under 18% of the vote, you get automatically relegated. I don't know if she's going to bump that up or something.
I like the addition of relegation is a wonderful, wonderful thing. You know, it's great in sports. It adds a lot to, you know, the ability you need. It's not like Major League Baseball where you can just be the Colorado Rockies, cash your check, and be the most embarrassing team on the planet and have no repercussions for it. You got to come ready to draft. You got to bring your best. And if you want to stick around and be a part of it.
Premier League season begins today, this afternoon. Liverpool, Bournemouth, 1:00.
Premiership starts today?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Soccer gets going overseas now. Italy in 2 weeks. Spain should be shortly. I don't know if it's this weekend or next weekend for Spain. Same with Germany. Spain's this weekend. There's a game today. And Germany, I don't know when Germany gets going. Germany's next weekend. So yeah, full footy's going.
Listen, let's just, we don't get to do this very often, but there's got to be a bunch of futures up here for
the Premier League. Yeah, Liverpool's the favorite to go win it all. Arsenal, City, Chelsea are following, and it's a big drop between City and Chelsea. The Liverpool's an interesting one because they just won the league. They won it pretty convincingly. The argument could be made that it was Jurgen Klopp's team that Arne Slot took over, and he did a great job of getting a championship with them. And now they've made quite a bit of transfers and changes, but they're now starting to become Arne Slot's guys. And is he as good with his moves as Jurgen Klopp? It's hard to bet against right now, Liverpool. But, if you're looking at a team, I don't like City. They've, lose when they don't have Kevin De Bruyne, they've always struggled. And he's now in Napoli. If anything, Arsenal would be the one to look at. Top four. I don't mind Newcastle. They're plus 315. I don't know. They're in Champions League though. It's a tough one to go into because there's the top teams and then there's everyone else.
How is Man U so far down the board? Aren't they
Man U had
power?
Man U had a historically horrendous season last year. They were much closer to relegation than any other good spot. They finished, I think, 15th, not 16th. They were dreadful last year. As a Man U fan, it was beyond depressing. They've gone out. They've made a couple of really good transfers. They've completely changed their up front. They should be better than last year, but there's ways to go. And the manager that they have, there are going to be question marks of whether his system will work with what Manchester United have. So there's a lot of question marks. They aren't a terrible bet for top four at plus 280 because if they get going and these moves that they brought in work, I could see them taking a significant jump quickly. The benefit United does not have this season, they don't have to play Champions League football. They don't have to play any European football. So they could just focus on the 38 Premier League matches, and there's a lot more training that they're going to get as opposed to playing extra matches that they don't need to play in right now.
Yeah.
They're not a bad bet for top four if things get going. But I think if you look at any of the pundits' predictions, you're going to see United anywhere between 6 and 10 going into this season. Now they're looking at I think it's Balibo, midfielder from Brighton. It's going to cost them a hefty penny. If they could grab him, surprisingly, in the next couple of weeks, it would change my complete outlook on what United can do. But they have concerns with their goalies. Onana's not good enough. They should still have some struggles at points this season. They open up against Arsenal on Sunday. If they can find a way to steal 3 points to start the season, there'll be a lot of confidence with United. But a historical juggernaut, still a commercial beast. They print money like there's no tomorrow. But it's been a long time since they've been a successful club. It hurts.
I mean, you look there's the top four teams, and then it's Man U. But it's like 23-1. It's such a big gap. What about Premier PFA? I guess that's the Premier Football Association Player of the Year. Let me read this out. The favorite, Bukayo Saka.
With
and
Arsenal.
Then Florian Wirtz. Team's he on?
He went to Liverpool. It was a big Liverpool deal, I believe.
Phil Foden.
Man City.
Cole Palmer.
No. Phil Foden. I think he's still
Salah.
Man City.
Mo Salah and Erling Haaland. Is Haaland's on Chelsea?
No, he's on Man City. He's the Norwegian beast that a couple years ago just went on a ridiculous scoring streak. But it's also getting the ball. Like when his first year in the Premier League, he scored 52 goals in 53 games. Then he got 38 and 45 and then 34 and 48. So it's dropped a little bit. Who's won that the last few years? Player of the season. I think Salah won it last year.
You remind me that this is starting right now. I'm going to try and get in and pay a bit more attention to this right out of the gate. Well, what do we have for matchups? Oh, so it's a full slate of games this weekend.
Yeah, no, it's always going to get going. So tonight, over there tonight, you got a game tonight or today. You then got games Saturday and Sunday, and then I think there's one game on the Monday. Yeah, Leeds and taking on Everton. So it's like us. We're just a couple weeks away. We're gonna have CFL, we're gonna have soccer, we're gonna have college football, we're gonna have National Football League all going at once. When it comes to the footballs, both footballs, it's all happening, baby.
The fall is such a fun time. At this time of year, when I was a kid, the last couple weeks of August, as much as it's still fun and it's summer, you just have this impending dread, knowing that the second you get on the other side of Labor Day, you're back in school for however many months, and it just seems like it's going to be forever. Now, at this point in my life, I'm like, yeah, no problem. Summer's been great. When the hell is NFL kickoff? Let's get going. And so we'll take it. We'll max out with some good times in these last couple of weeks, but, it's going to be getting ready to really dive into the National Football League over these next few weeks with some futures and whatnot. But premier kickoff today. So Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea suggested to be the top four. Those are all big minuses. Like Man U, fifth in ranking of odds, is still plus 325 to be top four. Like it just seems like there's those four teams and then everybody else. I mean, big numbers, frankly, on just moving up a spot or two and getting ahead of one of those four teams.
Yeah, it does feel like those four teams. It's up for grabs after that. That you could make a case for United finishing fifth. You can make a case for Tottenham finishing fifth. They had a really good match against PSG a couple days ago for the Super Cup and blew it in the end. But maybe with their new manager, things are turning around. You can make a case for, I think Nottingham Forest. You can make the case for Newcastle. There's all sorts of cases to be made for the teams after that. If there's anyone falling out of that top four, I would. It's hard to say it, but I would lead to believe that it may be more Chelsea than anyone else. Like I'm not going to bet against Pep and Manchester City, even though they've lost some players.
They're the shortest number. I mean, they're like I'm just looking like Liverpool top four is minus 60, 67.
They're not falling out. Arsenal's not falling out.
400, and then it's there. How many teams get relegated every year? Three
relegated, 3 promoted. You could bet on that right now. That's all over the place. You could bet on how many teams are going to be relegated. I'd have to look the year prior, like how many teams that got promoted of the 3 teams, how many get sent right back down. 2 teams is the favorite. 1 team's plus 275, 3 teams plus 300. None of those teams is plus 1,400. That would be an utter surprise. You could bet on the teams that are going to go down. Burnley, Sunderland are all minuses. Leeds is plus 115. Wolves are plus 300. Brentford's plus 300. Brentford's that's an interesting one to me. The best promoted team. So Leeds, Sunderland, and Burnley are all going up.
Interesting. And
I'm just trying to see who would go down. I don't see the Wolves going down. Maybe they will.
That's Wolverhampton?
Yeah, Wolverhampton Wanderers. They just get called the Wolves.
I like it. Oh,
Crystal Palace is a team that I'm intrigued by this season. They just beat Liverpool for a trophy last weekend in something called the Community Shield. They won it in penalties. They're a team, I'm not going to say top 4, but I don't know if there's total points for them. It's between, over 48's plus 120, plus 450 for 46 and 48. I think they'll finish over 48 possibly. I think they could have a good season based on, that's a good start to the years to have some sort of trophy to begin it all. But there's a thing I also see, a straight forecast, which is I think it's 1-2. You're betting on the top 2 positions because it's got Liverpool, Arsenal, plus 500. Plus 500 is very nice value to be saying that Liverpool and Arsenal are going to go 1-2.
I mean, they're pretty heavy favorites to be the top 2 teams in the league.
It's Liverpool, City plus 550, Arsenal, Liverpool plus 645, City, Liverpool plus 795. I'd be stunned if we're talking about City winning it all. I think they're more the 3-4 spot. It's the team challenging Liverpool as Arsenal. If a plus 500 straight forecast, Liverpool, Arsenal, that's, especially Liverpool to win it all is only plus 170. If you're looking for value right now as I'm going through this, that might be your value, where you can get plus 500 and you're betting on Liverpool and Arsenal.
To be top 2 or Liverpool 1, Arsenal 2, or is it
No, it's to go 1-2.
Okay.
It'd be 1-2 for that way. Yeah, because the reversed way Arsenal, Liverpool's plus 645. So again, if you think Liverpool's going to win or if you think Arsenal's going to win, those might be the way to look at it. On Player Bar, it's called Straight Forecast, where like unless you think there's going to be a surprise number 2 team. Yeah, you're selecting the 2 to go in that order. 1, 2. That's maybe your absolute play if you're looking for something on the Premier League. I would say this year is that Liverpool, Arsenal, or depending who you think's going to win. If you think Liverpool's going to win, you might as well just go up instead of going plus 170. You might as well go up to plus 500 because make a case for me that someone else is going to knock off Arsenal for that number 2 spot. Or if you think Arsenal's going to win and they're only plus 240, tell me who's going to knock off Liverpool for that spot. So those would be the ways I'd be looking at when it comes to the Premier League season.
You know, I know we spend a lot of time talking NFL futures, and that was fun to kind of go through the Premiership. Here's a quick question for you Oiler fans. The Oilers are up at what, 8-1 to win the Cup right now. You got the Panthers as the favorite at 6. 8-1. Do you think the Oilers will ever be higher than 8-1 to win the Cup? I guess if they have a bad start, you could maybe drift to 9 or 10. Like, based on what we've seen the last couple of years, especially 2 years ago with the historically bad start and still getting to the Cup final, I'm not sure that number ever gets bigger than plus 800 for Edmonton to win the Stanley.
If it does, it's not much bigger.
No. Like
if I could see at some point there'll be a slow period of time for this team just doesn't make things easy for themselves during the regular season. And I think what we saw like last year, I don't think we saw anything too crazy with the numbers. Like I could see 10-1 it dropping to maybe at some point. But I think even the odds makers will know, based on what we've seen the last few years, that this is a team that once the playoffs come, they're a different hockey team. Mm-hmm. And the line's not going to change too much. You would have to see because it's Panthers, Carolina, Edmonton, Avalanche, Golden Knights, Stars. You would have to see the Avalanche, Golden Knights, or the Stars really 2 of those 3 get off to just incredible starts. The Oilers have a rough patch to start the season. Maybe that's dropping to 10-1. I don't see it going much lower than 10-1. I don't know if anyone recalls what it maybe went to during last season.
That's I guess my point is that I think even if the Oilers start poorly or whatever, people are just going to be like, whatever, we're not moving this. Because we know that at the end, they're probably going to be there.
It's interesting seeing some of the awards. The Hellebuck's plus 325 to win Vezina.
Oh, yeah. He is. It's funny because last year, after he won the Vezina, going into last season, it was a 3-horse race, and they were all tied. Hellebuck, Shesterkin, Vasilevsky. And now he's about half the odds of Shesterkin. Vasi's a little bit more. You know this is actually wild. Once you get through those first 3 guys, and this might change from place to place, but Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flames, 4th in the odds for the Vezina Trophy, ahead of Jake Ottinger, Thompson, Kemper, Bob, Sorokin. I guess that group's all sort of in the same. But yeah, I mean, I guess that he had such a strong rookie season. He's certainly going to get the opportunity to carry the mail for Calgary. We just didn't expect to see him kind of ahead of some of those guys that are a little bit more household names. You know, McDavid obviously favorite for the MVP, favorite for the Art Ross Trophy.
This isn't good for Oiler fans. They're just going to lose their mind. Stuart Skinner's basically 23,000 to 1 to win the Vezina. He's lower than Cam Talbot.
That's that actually is hilarious. I don't know why.
You have to scroll down quite a bit to get to him there. I also do understand it. But for people that are upset with, Stuart Skinner being the starting goalie of the Edmonton Oilers still, it's just interesting seeing where his number is.
He's based 230 to 1.
Yeah. I've got, okay, let me try to count how many goalies I have. PA has ahead of him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. He's the 37th. No, he's tied for 37, 36, 35, 34. He's tied for the 33rd best odds.
There's 32 goalies that are starters.
And he's one of those 32. So there's 31 starting goalies and then 2 backups basically in those numbers that are ahead of Stuart Skinner for best for odds for Hart Memorial or for Vezina. Oiler fans. Sorry to tell you that one, Oiler fans, today. I should have brought that one up. Trev going, are we really surprised?
Hey, listen, if you believe in your guy, some of you may not, but if you do, he's going to get a chance to play and win a lot of games. You
Absolutely.
Never know. You never know. Maybe he comes up with an incredible season. The 230-1 though number is just absolutely bananas. I mean,
well, Big Uke goes sprinkle, and VR goes, I've got 50 cents on Skinner. Why not? Huss, what do you got coming up on WST? I'm assuming a bit of a recap on the Bombers.
Yeah, Taylor Allen from the Freep is going to jump on. We're going to dive into last night's game with him and with Connor. And we've also got Johnny Junta from the Gate 14 pod in Toronto. The VP of Vibes in the GTA for the Toronto Blue Jays. What a awesome game yesterday, too. Big home run for Vlad. Comeback win over the Cubs. They win that series. He'll be joining us. And we'll do the NFL Notebook with Hacksaw and then crank out some marbles, even with Remus away. We've got Andrew Z, our backup guy that comes in to help us when Remus is away. The camera work on the marble race might not be up to the regular standard, but we will make it happen. So ESTers jump on around 1:45 your time to jump in. It should be good. Maddie, have a great time at that football game tomorrow. I'll be looking for you. Maybe
appreciate
you can
Pill Zone. We're in the Pill Zone.
Tarps off, wave the shirts like the kids.
Yeah.
I want to see you guys really getting after it tomorrow. And if you're in Pill Zone, there's a lot of TV time there.
I'll have this EST hat on. Pill Zone. So keep a lock. Green and gold pill hat. Have a good one, Huss.
Thanks, man. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up. What is it? Exclamation marbles. If you want to get into the marble race. Wednesday open for the marble races on WST. That's coming up in just a few minutes over there. Coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk, we've got the oil stream. Tommy and Reed will take over. I am back in this chair for EST afternoons. Myself and Benny will be on at 1:40. Mike Sando will join us. He's from The Athletic. We're going to talk some NFL quarterbacks. He has a ranking system as well as at 2:20. Jonathan Tannenwald will join me. He's of the Philadelphia Inquirer. We're going to talk some Premier League. We're going to talk a little footy to start as their season starts today as well. Faces of the franchise. I don't know what teams Hernan and Gager have completely gone through. They haven't left me a list of any of that stuff. So we're going to do one, and I'm going to need help from the Nasties. Be like, yeah, that one's been done or hasn't been done. And then it's going to be Reed Wilkins show with Jay Melton, 6 o'clock. Myself, Jay. We're back on the air. Green and Gold kickoff show. Elks, Argos coming up 7 o'clock down at Commonwealth Stadium. So we'll have the kickoff show at 6 o'clock and as well as post-game show once that game comes to an end. Thank you to everyone for tuning into the Lock Shop here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice of Edmonton Sports presented by Play Alberta. On behalf of us, I am Matt. Enjoy the start of your afternoon. I'll talk with you in an hour.